2022 was a very well documented year for Mercedes, as you probably know, with them just not getting the new regulations right. They themselves know that if you nail the new rules, it will follow with years of dominance, and this is what Red Bull hopes to do now. However, Mercedes struggled and only managed to get a win in the penultimate race of the season in Brazil, and as soon as they knew that W13 was not going to be able to fight for the championship, they put a lot of focus onto 2023. As the year went on and on, we heard a lot from Toto Wolff and people high up at Mercedes that the W14 will be much better and that they were quietly confident that they had solved the issues that plagued them in 2022. So, in today's video, we are going to explore some possible scenarios on what could happen in the 2023 season and some predictions from us. Let's get right into it. Today, we are not going to talk about the W13 and how the 2022 season went, as you probably know, and we are solely going to talk about what could happen in the 2023 season. Obviously, Mercedes standards are very high and they want to win every single title that they can, as they have dominated the sport for 8 years. And 2022 was a shock, so they of course want to bounce back in style. However, the only real issue is that they are the third fastest car behind Red Bull and Ferrari, so it will be hard for them just to jump these two and all of a sudden be the fastest car on the grid and go back to dominating as they did for so many years. But it is not impossible at all. We have seen it before in the past where a team can come out of nowhere and win again, or go back and be a top team and fall back into the midfield. This is Formula 1 we are talking about here, and anything is possible. A small change could cause a team to be back to winning once again, and an innovation could cause a team to win again. You never know. Mercedes are still a top team, and 2022 may actually help them going forward. We do not know if they got complacent, but it will be a reminder to everyone back at the factory that something can go wrong. Earlier on in 2022, we heard Toto say that he was going to put the W13 at the entrance to the factory to show the team that sometimes it does go wrong in Formula 1 and things can go wrong, further showing Toto's winning mentality and how he is one of the top team principals on the grid. The mentality is clear there, and the teams throughout 2022 were positive. Lewis Hamilton came out in the media as someone who was, yes, annoyed, but wanted to help and use experience to motivate the team. Furthermore, Toto did say throughout the year they had found the root of their problems and that it was something that you cannot see, but it is with the fundamentals of the car. He talked about how when he saw the W14 in the wind tunnel for the very first time, he thought it looked the same, but people around him had told him how it was very much different. Sounds exciting, right? There is a chance that Mercedes do stay behind Red Bull and Ferrari, but as they are more experienced in winning than the two above them, this will show. Also, as they finish P3 in the constructors' standings, they will get much more CFD and wind tunnel time than Ferrari, and especially Red Bull, who will have reduced time due to the cost cap drama. There is signs and possibility for Mercedes to go backwards or stay in the same position, but it's more than likely that the W14 will be able to win races more consistently and also have a chance to win the championship and get back on top as they did for all of those years. Overall, we think it's very hard to call where exactly Mercedes will be in 2023, but for certain they will be in and around the fight with both Ferrari and Red Bull. But more importantly, what do you think? Will Mercedes be back in the fight, or will they still be struggling with getting to grips with these new regulations? Let us know in the comments below. On to the driver lineup and the dynamic that we have going into 2023 now with George Russell and Lewis Hamilton. We have one driver in Russell who is expected to come into a title-winning car, but it was not that, of course. He got his first pole position and win for the team. Then we have the 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton, who had a very poor car for the first time in nearly a decade early on, and he was struggling to adapt and was used to testing the setups of the car as the year got on. He improved more and more. Russell did beat Hamilton in his first year in the team, which was a surprise, and all these points were massively gained early on in the season. But he was the only driver to get a pole and a win with the team, so that is something for Russell to be very proud of, and he must be full of confidence. However, on several occasions, Russell would have silly little collisions with other drivers which either ruined his or their race. This is something that he has to improve on, of course, if he still wants to be consistent in a title fight throughout the whole way of the season. However, Hamilton still showed his talent, and he had some great races where he was unlucky to win on a few occasions. So yes, Lewis did get beat by Russell, which is worrying, but it's clear that Hamilton is the better driver, and Russell probably knows that in the back of his head he has always spoken highly of Hamilton. It is clear that Russell was brought in to be the second driver to Hamilton until he retires. Then Russell can be that team leader in the years to come to bring the team forward. However, the problem is that if the W14 is the most dominant car on the grid and nobody else can get near them, it is more than likely that we see Russell and Hamilton very close together. When it was Bottas and Hamilton together, Hamilton always had the edge over Bottas, but it is not yet seen how Hamilton beats Russell yet. And if they do get close, and some collisions do happen, what exactly will happen in this scenario? This, of course, is something that is hypothetical, and we do not know that this will even happen at all. But it will be very interesting about what happens between Russell and Hamilton if they have much more of a competitive car going forward. What do you think will happen between Hamilton and Russell? Will it be a repeat of what happened last year? Or will Hamilton be able to put down a marker and show his dominance over his teammate once again? Make sure to drop a comment below and tell us, what do you think? Overall, it is pretty fair to say that 2023 is a tough season to call for Mercedes, and fans are just not sure what will happen in 2023. It could go either way, and all of this positive talk that has come from the Silver Arrows is right, and they can go back to dominating everyone once again, or could easily go the opposite way. They could look silly and the car could be the same or even worse than the W13, and they could easily get stuck in a position where they will not be able to fight for a championship until more new regulations are put into place, and the next set are not all the way until 2026. You may be wondering what our thoughts on Mercedes. Well, we are also just as unsure as most fans talking about the Silver Arrows. However, we do believe that they could be fighting for wins for sure and be in and around where Ferrari was in 2022. It will be very hard for them to beat and do even better than what Red Bull did last year, but we are not ruling it out as impossible. If Red Bull can do it, why can't Mercedes do exactly the same thing in 2023 and dominate? We'll just have to wait and see until the season starts in Bahrain in a couple of months or so. Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to watch more videos just like this one.